Before us lies a beautiful assemblage, a bouquet of many different colors, sizes, shapes, and aromas, flowers that together create what no one of them can alone. The flower ceremony, or flower communion, as it is celebrated in Unitarian Universalist congregations, was created over 100 years ago by Norbert Čapek, who founded the Unitarian Church in Prague. Čapek is probably most remembered for his martyrdom, dying in the prison in Dachau for being an outspoken critic of the Nazi regime. But for Čapek, the simple ceremony is a way that we bring Čapek's spirit to us today. It was a simple ceremony of bringing a flower, placing it in a common vessel, and then going home with a different flower than the one you brought, as a symbol of the friendships that bind a group of individuals into one community. For us here today, we are beginning a new worship theme of equity, which is one of our shared Unitarian Universalist values. Equity begins with the recognition that each one of us is different. And because we are different, we need different things. So to think about what this means, I'm going to invite you to look around and see all the different shoes we're wearing. I've often heard you can tell you're in a Unitarian Universalist congregation because of the assortment of footwear. So of all the shoes that you see, how many do you think would fit your feet? And of those, how many do you think you would actually enjoy wearing? So equity sounds a lot like equality. If we're talking about shoes, equality would mean that everybody would get the same shoes, which would work out great for me if the shoe everyone got was a size 8 medium width, flat Mary Jane style with extra arch support. While that might work for a handful of you, the rest of you would either be really uncomfortable or you would need to go barefoot. Equity means providing different resources and opportunities to different people depending on their needs. Some people have small feet, some have large feet, some have flat feet, and some have high arches in their feet. Some prefer sneakers, some prefer sandals, some prefer leather loafers, and some prefer high heels with pointy toes. Equity would mean that each person gets the shoes they need and prefer. Flowers are like people in that they are all different and they all have different needs. One of the first paid jobs that I had when I was a teenager was in a carnation greenhouse. Inside the greenhouse were row after row of flower beds filled with light, well-drained soil, which is exactly what carnations like. There were trellises that were made of string across each bed, and they held each flower upright so that it grew perfectly straight. On some days, my job was to remove buds that were appearing on the stems so that there would be only one blossom per stem. Other days, it was to add another row of string to the trellis so that it would be as tall as the carnations as they grew. And to this day, I can remember what it was like to walk into that greenhouse on a cold winter day, greeted by summer-like warmth and the sweet smell of carnations. This was back in Colorado, where the sun shines 352 days a year. So the greenhouse was almost always bright and sunny, which is exactly what carnations need. Pansies would never survive in that greenhouse. They would wilt and wither because they like cool, crisp weather. Flower Communion Sunday helps us remember that people are like flowers. We are all different from each other. We have different needs and different preferences. Each is beautiful in their own way, and each has gifts to share. When we come together, we create something larger and more beautiful than any one of us could on our own. Just as when we bring different flowers together into a bouquet, each lends its particular beauty to the whole. When we bring a flower and take a different one home, I noticed that people really liked the peonies today. So if you have your heart set on a peony, you just might get something different. And no matter what flower it is, it reminds us of the friendships and the connections that we make in our church community. It helps us to remember to pay attention to the different needs that we all have and to give thanks for the different gifts that we all bring. And then taking care of that flower that we carry home with us reminds us that we need to take care of each other. And knowing that the flower that we brought with us is being cared for by someone else calls to mind the ways we have been nurtured and cared for within this beloved community. When we take part in the flower communion, it connects us with Unitarian Universalists all around the country and all around the world who do the same this spring. Let us bless the sharing of these flowers with words written by Elizabeth Strong. Enter into the communion of flowers with joyful hearts. Enter with reverent thoughts. It has taken long months beneath cold ground for these flowers to prepare their blooming. It has taken each of us times of growth through sorrow and joy to prepare for our living now. The blooming season is short. The flowers stay only a brief time. We are travelers upon the earth, travelers through all too brief lifetimes. Therefore, let our moments be bountiful. Let us rejoice in our unique colors, aromas, and sounds. Let us celebrate together in love that as we travel away, we take with us the memory of golden hours together among the flowers. In just a moment, our children, and perhaps some of those young at heart, will pass flowers through the sanctuary. As you receive your flower, take a moment to consider its unique beauty. Is it small and shy, or is it large and showy, or something in between? Is its color bright or pale? Is its aroma sweet or pungent? Think, too, of what it took for it to germinate from a seed or bulb, the climate it prefers, be it warm and sunny or shady and cool, the conditions of the soil it grew in. Know that whatever flower you hold in your hand, there is not another one exactly like it, nor will there ever be again. And the same is true for the person who brought it here today. And I invite those of you who are attending on Zoom, if you are willing, and if you have a flower nearby, to hold it up to the camera so that those on Zoom and maybe some of us here in the sanctuary can share in its beauty. Let us now receive the gifts of friendship and community that these flowers represent. To paraphrase Norbert Chopek, may we cherish friendship as one of life's most precious gifts.